Hello.
Hello, Chuck. How's it going?
Yeah, it's going all right. How are you?
Very good, very good. How's it going in the land of rock and roll these days?
Well, it's been crazy, just a crazy time this last few weeks. I've been out with a thing called Legends of Classic Rock, and I'm currently, starting promo on my new album, my first ever debut solo record.
Yeah, so Chuck writes Shelter in the Sky. Let me just tell you, the sound quality you produce in this is pretty nice. It's like the sound waves are just generating, in stereo fields. Very good work.
Hey, thanks, man. It was done over the period of the pandemic. I haven't had the time really to sit down and compose music, which I did a lot of with bands like House of Lords and Quiet Riot back in the day. Between touring on the weekends, doing flyouts with Quiet Riot, and also running Ultimate Jam Night, which is at that point was a weekly, show I do at the Whiskey a Go Go with like anywhere from 50 to 100 musicians. They're all pros, different theme each week.
Right.
I just never had time to sit down. But then when the pandemic hit, we're all stuck at home. So I said, I'll just sit down. And the first thing I wrote, I was looking at how the whole world had become kind of a apocalyptic kind of vibe to it, with empty streets everywhere. So I wrote an instrumental piece called The Weight of Silence, and edited together a video with drone footage of all the cities and just the way it felt. And the music was coming from that feeling. And I put together a video and I put it out there. And then Troy Luccketta from Tesla reached out to me and said, hey, I love this track. I'd love to play on it. So I went, oh yeah, okay. I never thought about with drums on it, because I'm basically playing all the instruments on it. So he did some drum tracks, and then a really well-known jazz fusion guitarist named Alan Hines also wanted to get on it. So he sent me some stuff. So did a whole new version of the song and re-edited them into it, which led to me starting to write more, create more, send music out to different friends of mine and say, hey, what do you think? And they go, oh, I'd love to play on this. So I ended up having over 40 different guest musicians on the record. And the album covers a huge, diverse, eclectic style of music. It's not just a rock record, which I'm excited to share with everybody.
And also, Chuck, when you do use like 40 artists, it's like right there you're opening yourself to these artists' fans. So I mean, that's very
Well,
good.
yeah, I never thought about it that way. I never really thought about that part. What I was thinking of more so was what they as artists bring to the material. Like certain guys are great for certain things, and
Right.
so that's kind of like I'd reach out and go, hey, this would be great if you could do like a Jeff Beck kind of stylized solo over this, and then they would send back something like that for me. So it kind of went like that. It didn't occur to me until now in promoting the record that, wow, what actually reaching out to all these guys' fans could be helpful too, just to get it out there to show a different side of their playing as well.
Absolutely. And like, let's say, producing and making videos, I mean, it marks that you're the director and producer on the, let's say, Throwing Stones. So you've made that video yourself?
Well, actually, on that one, I produced it, put together, found the location. I worked with, I have now a very close friend who's, I think, a genius, who's a cinematographer, editor. He's also won awards as a film scorer. And he actually mixed Throwing Stones and Army of Me and a couple other ones on the record, and helped co-produce a few of the songs. His name is Tim Janssens, and he's from Belgium. And yeah, so the first one I worked with on Army of Me, I worked with a 3D animator friend of mine named Drew Lanius. I saw something he did and I go, hey, it'd be really cool if we could do something together. And that kind of all came together around the end of the, Trump's whole time in office, and things were getting crazy, and the riots and all that stuff. So it's kind of reflected in the video, the feeling that was going on there, which with Throwing Stones, it's an anti-war message, but that was written lyrically before the Russian invasion. That was Joe Retta, actually. I sent him the music and he came up with the vocal melodies and the lyric for that song. It just timing wise happens to be, you know, the right time for this kind of message.
Mm-hmm. And I see a great surprise to see Mitch Perry performing on your video. I mean, that's legendary, right?
Well,
there to have him.
He's awesome. He actually, you know, he's my house guitar player with Ultimate Jam Night when he's available, and has been doing it with me since 2015. And we're very close friends. We've been friends since the early 80s. You know, there isn't too many people I would rather have involved, you know, and he was the perfect guy. I said, for that solo, for instance, I said, try to come up with something that's wah-wah but kind of has a unique feel to it, you know, so try to keep the song more unique, even though I wanted the song to be modern and unique, but still have like a 70s soulfulness to it, which Joe brought to it, and the funk of the track in the rhythm section. That's actually music that I recorded with my late friend Pat Torpey. There's 3 songs on the album that I cut with Lanny Cordola, who's was with me with House of Lords and many other albums we've worked together on. We recorded some song ideas, and I stumbled across the tracks, and I go, these need to be finished. I want to honor Pat by finishing them and doing our own thing to them, and that's how that all came about with those 3 songs.
So yeah, like the project has been going for a little while now, and it's like,
well, yeah, a couple since the pandemic started, really, and now all this time later, it's finally happening. It's finally out there, you know, and or coming out. The album's coming out. The 2 videos are out. But coordinating and working with all these different musicians has just been fantastic. You know, I always say surround yourself with the best, and it'll come out great. You know,
for sure. And like let's say you've like appeared on so many albums, and that should be a great feeling. Now, how does it feel, you know, that you're releasing an album?
Well, that's the thing. At this point in my career, I've been doing this really, you know, since the late 70s, really, is when I started playing the Whiskey and the Starwood and all those kind of clubs with my own band, which was a prog kind of rock band. We were the first band to ever have a Lasers show, and we packed it out, and I was playing with 2 at the same time. But all these years later, and I've done over 100 albums working in bands or working for other artists, I'm finally able to just say, hey, this is my legacy, really. This is what I'm about musically. These are all things that I put together, oversaw. You know, there's some co-writes on there. I wrote a lot of it, and there's a couple covers. But one song I always wanted to do since I was a kid, which is called Darkness, Darkness, which is a Youngbloods song. And I think Robert Plant covered it, but I wanted to do truly a Celtic version of it. So that's on there. But yeah, this is my, what I wanted to, as they say, leave behind, you know.
Okay, yeah.
It's about time, right? Many decades later, I'm finally doing my own thing, you know.
Well, it's like you would imagine there'd be a Chuck Wright solo album somewhere in the past history, and we don't see none. And now
now finally there's something, and it's like I said, it's really reflects music that I sat down and just wrote music I wanted to you know, that I would want to hear. I didn't have an agenda. I never really thought that this would be an album, but it just kind of started happening. And I'm just going to do a hard rock record or this kind of, I just did music, you know, music for art's sake, so to speak, you know?
Yeah.
As people will discover when they hear the record, it's kind of a cinematic trip from the beginning to the end. It takes you through all kinds of different feelings and vibes. So
you can absolutely see that in the promo videos as well. So yeah.
Yeah, man. That's the whole point of it, man.
And the
name,
name,
reach people, huh?
And the name Chuck Wright's "Sheltering the Sky." Where does that come from? To know name?
Well,
like that.
I kind of because partly a good part of it is because there's so many different players on it. It's not like Chuck Wright, you know. It's like all these. And I felt like since I started Ultimate Jam Night and put all these musicians together every week, that I'm kind of like the umbrella over everybody and getting people together and creating relationships, and new bands are formed, and a lot of people have made friends, even got married. That I'm kind of like the guy over the sheltering sky over everyone. I'm the wings, and that's the album cover. Trying to lift everybody up, so I didn't really feel like it should be Chuck Wright and just whatever. It's kind of an ensemble of people. You follow me?
I got it. And yeah, it's a good name. I mean, it's unique. And
well, yeah, it is. It's kind of confusing to people at first because they think, well, is Sheltering Sky the name of the album? And I go, no, it's basically the name of the project or what this is, so in that regard, that's what that is.
And on top of all this, you've kept busy, I'm sure throughout the pandemic, not only writing this stuff and, what else have you been doing? Like just playing music all the time?
Yeah, pretty much most of my energies were towards, writing music. And there's a lot of things that I didn't finish that, there's more than the songs that are on this album sitting out there. But I also caught up on a lot of, movies and TV shows and things like that because we're stuck at home that I never really had the time to do either, because I was always working or on the road or whatever. It was just nonstop pace. And I finally had actually too much time. This is a long time. We were out 18 months or something like that. A big chunk of your life is taken away because of the pandemic, and friends and family and people, it's a tough time.
And let's say going on the album's artwork, since it's your first solo album, I mean, you're going to make a great album artwork and you've delivered it. Where did you get your hands on that?
With regards to that, I'm a graphic designer and I've done a lot of things. I've done in the 90s, I was working for 3 different labels and all that. But one of my best friends is Glenn Wexler, who's really a well-known photographer and designer and all around amazing at whatever he does. And he's a close friend, and he said, hey, listen, you want me to get involved and do your cover work? And I said, are you kidding me? Of course. I mean, he's done Van Halen, Black Sabbath, Rush, the list goes on, and we're with biggest artists like Michael Jackson or whatever in his career, and we're super tight like brothers. So of course he had this concept and it looks fantastic and it's great. I loved it. So and it fits the mood of the music. When you hear the record as a whole, it really makes sense. So,
and also when making this album, when did you find the magic number to, like, let's say, stop writing and let's say this is the album now, we're not going to add more songs to it?
Well, it just felt time. It felt like it was time. I did initially, I completed 5 songs and made the video for Army of Me. And then I started shopping it to different labels to see if I could actually get a release now, because now it really felt like it was an album. And my friend Brian Pereira at Cleopatra said, yeah, let's do this. He sees the vision, he sees what it is. And we've worked together on many projects over the years since the 90s. And he came on board, and they're great to work with. It's been fantastic.
Great stuff. And like, Chuck, let's say this summer coming up, what's going to go on with you? Like, what are you going to be doing? Playing lots of shows like you usually do?
Things are different. So I'm planning on. I've been working with Greg D'Angelo from White Lion and Terry Luce from Great White, doing this thing called Legends of Classic Rock, and I'm going to be doing shows with those guys. And I have my own thing here called Acoustic Saints, and I also run Ultimate Jam Night. So I've got a pretty full plate, and I'm open. If somebody wants to reach out to me, I'm around. So you never know what might be happening down the road.
Always keeping busy. Just so you know, last time I talked to you was in 2008. So I mean, time passes by.
Wow.
Yeah, I couldn't.
That was a long time ago.
Yeah, a little while ago, and it's like
Well, you're still playing, right? You're still rocking.
I'm still rocking. The regular circuit there is, because it's getting rarer.
Oh, I know.
I'm sure it's the same way where you were. you're
Yeah,
at?
a lot of venues closed out here, you know. A lot of music venues went away, and people are starting to come back, and a new one opened up, and there's a couple things going on. But that's part of the reason I started Ultimate Jam Night was DJs were kind of taking over, you know. So I said, oh, wait a minute, you know, we need a place for the musicians all gather. So that's how that kind of took off. And we just did a big benefit for Ukraine, which was super successful. I mean, you couldn't fit any more people in there, and Steelheart and Bullet Boys and a bunch of other great musicians came down for the cause. It was great.
You got to keep on doing this stuff. I mean, to encourage the kids up to date to keep on supporting it.
Yeah, man. Exactly.
Well, Chuck, really appreciate you taking this time and speaking on your new product. I think it sounds great. You did a great job.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
And video quality looks great. I'll tell you that.
Yeah, I'm really happy. Like I said, I think Tim Jansen's is a genius because, you know, you can imagine how minute the budgets are. And I think anything he does looks like it was, you know, big box office movie quality. So I'm really happy. And he gets it. And he, you know, he's a musician too. He plays keyboards, and he actually played on some of the stuff. And he totally gets what we're trying to do here. So.
Okay. Well, Chuck, man, I wish you the best summer you can ever have, and just all the best for you, man.
You too. Thanks for your support. I appreciate it so much, Jason.
All right. Well, you have a good night there.
Okay. Take care. Cheers.
You too. Bye.